Saturday the 13th of April, and it's just past 6 o'clock, and welcome to our weekly news programme. And in the news this week, work to repair Weymouth Harbour Wall is now set to be complete by the end of June. The repairs, which first got underway at the end of last year, were set back several months following a partial collapse of around 20 metres of the wall on North Quay back in the spring. The original project was for around £1 million, with it costing a further £70,000 to deal with the collapsed section. The project is part of a larger £19.5 million project to redevelop the harbour side, which has included the demolition of the former council offices on the North Quay, which has now happened. The council has confirmed that immediate work to repair the collapsed section of the wall has been completed and damaged electrical cables have now been repaired. A spokesman for Dorset Council said the material behind the failed section of wall was a very poor material and failure, and we assume started something in the past, and this had been arrested by placing riprap small rocks in front of the wall to support it. So something historically happened there that's not been repaired properly. Under this project, the riprap was removed to give access to repairs to the wall, and upon removal of the riprap, the section of wall failed. It has transpired, therefore, that the reinstatement process is necessarily a part of the remedial work before things can proceed. Went on to say, we are now in the process of engaging with contractors to determine the preferred option, considering the complications introduced to accommodate the tidal impact and the proximity of critical services. We aim to appoint the selected contractor by the end of April, and work is programmed for completion by the end of June. Now, it's hoped that the repairs and strengthening for the wall should extend its life for around 35 years. The 34th Great Dorset Beach Clean recently happened, and it was a resounding success, with over 200 dedicated volunteers coming together to clean up 8 beaches across the Dorset coast. Despite challenging windy conditions, participants worked tirelessly to clear marine litter, much of which was brought in by the recent storms. Common items found during the clean-up included fishing gear, hard plastics and nurdles, with some more unusual discoveries such as brooms, a fridge and even the occasional shoe. The effort put in by the volunteers was impressive, resulting in the removal of hundreds of kilos of litter from the beaches. Particularly noteworthy was the removal of 104 kilograms of litter in just 2 hours from the beach at Kimmeridge Bay alone. The importance of events like the Great Dorset Beach Clean extends beyond just the physical clean-up. Many of the participant groups collect valuable data, which is shared with organisations such as the Marine Conservation Society and Surfers Against Sewage. This data plays a crucial role in informing government policies aimed at reducing litter and protecting the marine environment. The Great Dorset Beach Clean is a free, family-friendly event, attracting individuals from all different ages and backgrounds, whether it's to meet new people, get active, enjoy Dorset's beautiful coastline, or to give back to the environment and the local community. There is something for everyone to enjoy and benefit from. Kim Ford, one of the volunteers who attended the Kimmeridge Clean, said, "Me and Mum joined the beach clean every year at different locations, and wherever we go, there is always a wonderful sense of community. Everyone pulls together to get the job done, and we always have such a laugh at the same time. We've been going for 10 years now, and we'll be continuing for the next 10 years at least." Now, Dorset's Trading Standards team led a multi-agency operation on Tuesday the 26th of March, responding to intelligence about the sale of illegal vapes, tobacco and cigarettes from several premises in Weymouth. Alongside officers from Dorset Police, HM Revenue and Customs, the Regional Trading Standards Illegal Tobacco and Vapes Officer, and BWI K9 Limited, with their specialist detection dogs, the Trading Standards team visited 3 premises. 2 of the premises were found to be in possession of a large quantity of suspected illegal vapes, cigarettes and hand-rolling tobacco. In total, the team seized 1,000 vapes, over 18,000 cigarettes and almost 7 kilograms of hand-rolling tobacco. A vehicle was also seized from each premises, as they were found to contain suspected illegal goods. No illegal goods were found at the 3rd premises. Vapes and e-cigarettes are regulated by the Medicines and Health Products Regulatory Agency, MHRA, which places restrictions on how much nicotine they can contain and what other chemicals can be used. They also stipulate that child-resistant packaging is used and health and safety warnings are clearly displayed. However, many of the devices seized by Trading Standards flout these rules, and there are concerns that some may be designed specifically to appeal to children and young people. Anna Eastgate, who's the Corporate Director for Place Services at Dorset Council, said these volatile multi-agency operations are designed to disrupt and frustrate the supply of illegal products, which harms the health of Dorset residents and the interests of legitimate businesses. I'd like to thank our colleagues at Dorset Police, the HMRC and the Regional Trading Standards Illegal Tobacco and Vapes Officer for a job well done. Trading Standards work closely with other enforcement agencies to protect the health of Dorset residents and the interests of legitimate Dorset businesses. They welcome any intelligence about the illegal sale of tobacco, vapes or other age-restricted products, and these can be reported anonymously if desired to Trading Standards via Citizens Advice. Following the tragic death of a man at a motocross event near Dorset, officers from Dorset Police are appealing for anyone with footage to come forward. At 10:43 a.m. on Saturday the 6th of April, Dorset Police received a report of an incident at Higher Ashton Farm off the B3159 Goulds Hill, Martinstown. At a motocross event, a rider was found unresponsive. Officers and the ambulance service attended, but sadly the 54-year-old man from Axminster was pronounced dead at the scene. His next of kin have been informed and the coroner also notified. The incident is not currently being treated as suspicious, but officers are looking into the circumstances. Police Sergeant Chris Brolin of the Roads Policing Team said, "First and foremost, our thoughts are with the loved ones of the man who tragically died. We are trying to establish what exactly happened. The event took place on farmland and was not a race. It is believed that over 60 people took part, and we are hoping that someone may have recorded footage that could assist us with our investigation. I would urge anyone who used a helmet camera or any other device to please check if they caught anything of relevance." And also, officers from Dorset Police are appealing for witnesses and information following a report of an assault in Weymouth. They are urging for any witnesses and indeed the victim to come forward. Dorset Police received a report from a member of the public who witnessed an assault between 3:50 p.m. and 4 p.m. on Saturday the 6th of April on Franklin Road. It was reported that a woman was dragged into an alleyway at the rear of Abbotsbury Road. Police Constable Jamie Ralphs of Weymouth Police said, "At this time we have not been able to identify those involved, and I would ask the woman to please come forward so we can find out what happened. I'm also appealing to anyone who was in the area and witnessed what took place to please get in touch." Finally, if you've got any CCTV or dashcam footage from the area in the relevant time frame, please get in touch with Dorset Police. And finally, this week from Dorset Police, officers investigating a burglary where 2 high-value bikes were stolen from a shed in Wareham are appealing for information and issuing images of the stolen bikes, and there's one of them on the screen. Entry was gained to a shed in Mill Lane sometime on the night of Wednesday the 27th of March into the early hours of Thursday the 28th of March, and 2 bicycles were stolen. The stolen bikes were an olive grey Trek Rail 5 electric bicycle and a similar coloured Trek Remedy 8 mountain pedal cycle. Police Constable Matt Wellaway of Dorset Police said, "We are carrying out an investigation to identify who is responsible for this burglary and reunite the owners with their stolen property. As part of our inquiries, I am issuing images of the stolen bikes and would urge anyone who comes across these or has seen matching bicycles being offered for sale locally or online under suspicious circumstances to please get in touch." Now, you can get in touch with Dorset Police for any of those incidents by calling 101. And if you wish to give information anonymously, you can do that via the Crime Stoppers charity by calling 0800 555 111. That's 0800 555 111. Dorset Wildlife Trust has been awarded government funding for a project to create and revitalise over 500 hectares of habitats, including woodlands and ponds, across 18 sites in Dorset. The Species Survival Fund is aimed at helping to halt and reverse the decline of species abundance by preserving vital habitats and creating nature-rich landscapes. Dorset Wildlife Trust Making Space for Nature project is one of 20 conservation projects across the UK which will each receive a share of the £25 million Species Survival Fund. A wide range of project sites across Dorset include a brand new nature reserve at Liscombe, Brownsea Island Lagoon, recently acquired meadowland at Kingham National Nature Reserve near West Holme. The project will restore meadows, wetlands and orchards and create wood pasture, grassland and ponds. These habitats will drive species recovery. Andrew Pollard, who's Dorset Wildlife Trust Director of Conservation, said, "Our vision for this project is to create thriving biodiversity hubs which will increase the abundance of wildlife species across Dorset. Nearly 400 hectares of this land has little or no wildlife interest currently, and so when it is restored it will help form new nature recovery networks throughout the county." He went on to say, "Our thanks go to DEFRA and the National Lottery for giving us this incredible opportunity to do something positive now to protect the 3,000 species of wildlife in Dorset which had been identified as threatened, rare or protected." The project will help Dorset's rural economy too by creating 4 new full-time jobs plus 2 trainee opportunities. Now, if you're interested in those jobs with Dorset Wildlife Trust or those trainee opportunities, you can find out more by going along to their website at www.dorsetwildlifetrust.org.uk/jobs. That's www.dorsetwildlifetrust.org.uk/jobs. Now, 2 bands are coming together to pay tribute to local man Rob Goodwin, who passed away in 2022, and to raise some funds for charity at the same time. Rob and Roll, A Night to Remember, is an evening of music to honour the memory of Weymouth-based former musician and filmmaker Rob Goodwin. The event is set to take place at the Ocean Room Weymouth Pavilion on Saturday, May the 18th, and was named after Rob by his wife Jane. Jane was by his side when he passed away from motor neurone disease at the age of 68 back in 2022. Now, Rob was originally from the Manchester area and he spent the 1980s in Berkshire and Surrey and came to Weymouth in the 1990s with his business Champagne Film. During his career, Rob was a lighting designer and sound engineer, and this brought him into contact with Bradley Walsh, Bobby Davro, Chuck Berry, The Shadows, Cannon and Ball and his favourite Bob Monkhouse. Rob also worked with the BBC on their darts television coverage. Music was a passion of Rob's, who played drums in the Berkshire-based band The Monty, as well as a local band Replay during his final years. Ed Hintz, who's a teacher at Wey Valley Academy in Weymouth, has organised the fundraiser. Ed said, "Rob was a good friend of mine and we played in the band The Monty together. We always wanted to do something to honour Rob in his hometown in his memory, and the Ocean Room were more than happy to host us." Rob's son Jack will be stepping into his dad's shoes to be the Monty's drummer for the evening. The evening promises to be a night to remember. Bandmates are coming from as far away as Monmouthshire for the event. Money from the evening will be donated to the Motor Neurone Disease Association, which will fund support for families and research into treatment. Now, Ed Hintz is keen to reach out to the local community for prizes. If you would like to contribute to the prizes for the event, you can contact Ed on 07884 587777, or you can email him at hints@btinternet.com. That's hints, HINTZE, at btinternet.com. Now, drivers in Dorset are reminded of the precautions to take on the county's roads where deer may be present. And any of you that drive along the Puddletime bypass from Beer Regis to Dorchester will often see deer right down close by the side of the road there. You can be sure to see them there. Of course, they are on the roads all over Dorset. With between 42,000 and 74,000 deer-related collisions in the UK every year, Dorset Council is sharing advice from the British Deer Society on how to be deer aware and keep safe. Deer can be encountered in the county throughout the year, and many drivers have noticed an increased number close to roads in recent months due to flooded fields. In April and May, when the birthing season is in full swing, the number of animals on the roads can increase further. The danger of collisions also increases in October, with deer on the move for the autumn mating season. Warning signs are displayed around the Dorset Council area where deer are prominent, and there is a particular history of deer collisions. There are also steps motorists should take to help ensure the safety of themselves and others where deer stray onto the road. Now, this advice comes from the British Deer Society, and I'll touch on some of it now. Be aware during peak danger periods, as we said, those times of the year, and in daytime, it's in sort of around the day. It's between sunset and midnight, and the hours shortly before and after sunrise. Drive with caution during peak danger periods or on roads where hitting deer is possibility. Drive with caution and be on the lookout for deer near the road. Seen one, look for another one. So if you see one deer, there's likely to be more close by. Use your lights after dark. Do use full beam when there is no opposing traffic, but when a deer or other animal is noted on the road, dim your headlights as animals startled by the beam may freeze rather than leaving the road. Do not veer for a deer. Don't over swerve to avoid hitting a deer. If a collision with the animal is inevitable, then hitting it while maintaining full control of your car is the safest option. The alternative of swerving into oncoming traffic or off the road surface could be a lot worse. Motorcyclists are at particular risk when in direct collisions with animals. Look out for the traffic behind you. Only brake sharply and stop if there is no danger of being hit by following traffic, and use your hazard lights. Now, if you have an incident with a deer, the advice is pull over at a safe place, call the police, giving the precise location as you can. They have access to specialists who can attend to the scene. Do not try to assist or move the deer, as this can put you in danger. So that's the advice there. And they definitely suggest not approaching any injured deers on the road, because you might put yourself at danger from the deer actually getting up and attacking you, or knocking you over, or obviously running off into the road. So do call the police and let them deal with the issue. Now, you can find out more from the British Deer Society at bds.org.uk. That's bds.org.uk. Now, young people could soon find more careers in transport following government proposals to lower the minimum age requirements for bus and coach drivers and speed up training for bus, coach and lorry drivers. The Roads Minister, Guy Opperman, has launched a consultation to remove a restriction that currently states that 18 to 20-year-olds bus and coach drivers can only drive routes up to 50 kilometres. While they can already drive an articulated lorry with no distance limited, currently a fully trained 18 to 20-year-old driver can't operate a coach from London to Manchester or the scenic coastliner bus route from Leeds to Yorkshire coast due to the 50-kilometre restriction. These proposals are looking to change. With more bus and coach drivers safely trained to drive on our roads, bus operators could be able to run more services, especially in rural areas where bus routes tend to be longer. This will bring more reliable services and help passenger travel with confidence. This comes on top of further proposals for prospective bus, coach and HGV drivers to start theory and off-road training right away, rather than having to wait to have their provisional licence, meaning they can get started on their training journey immediately. More qualified lorry drivers will support a stronger haulage sector, helping ensure medical supplies reach hospitals, parcels are delivered on time, and supermarket shelves are always stocked. If the proposals are introduced, all prospective bus, coach and HGV drivers will be held to the same training requirements as before to ensure Britain's roads remain among the safest in the world, but will mean drivers can complete training and get working more quickly. Now, the Roads Minister, Guy Opperman, said being a bus, coach or lorry driver can be an excellent career for young people, and these proposals could help get younger talent into transport, encouraging diversity in the sector. This could be a win-win, not only improving job opportunities for those leaving school, but also going some way to continue to ease driver shortages, delivering more reliable bus and coach services and a more resilient supply chain as part of the plan to grow the economy. Weymouth Town Council's annual... Oh, that's the wrong one. We've had that one, haven't we? Weymouth Town Council's annual Anzac Memorial Service will be held on Thursday the 25th of April with a service of remembrance at 11 a.m. at the Anzac Memorial on Weymouth Seafront. And now this is on the seafront opposite the Hotel Prince Regent, and members of the public are welcome to attend. The wreath-laying service commemorates the thousands of Australian and New Zealand volunteer service personnel who passed through camps and hospitals in Dorset during the First World War between battles in the Middle East and those on the Western Front in Europe. Commander Brett Fotheringham from the Royal New Zealand Navy and Lieutenant Commander Courtney Barr from the Royal Australian Navy will be in attendance. Jane Biscombe, Town Clerk of Weymouth Town Council, said the Anzac service always carries a deeply poignant significance. It takes place opposite the Prince Regent Hotel, which was once Burden's military hospital, where soldiers were evacuated from the beaches of Gallipoli to recover from the traumas of war. The service on Thursday the 25th of April is open to anyone to attend in recognition of the sacrifices made by personnel of the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps. The short service will be carried out by the Mayor's Chaplain, the Reverend Betty Port. And finally, in the news tonight, in the headlines tonight, a new weekly health walk is set to start this month at Thorncombe Wood, local nature reserve near Dorchester. This free guided walk is part of Dorset Health Walks initiative and is designed for people who would like to get more active in a social setting. Key details are that the launch date will be Friday the 19th of April. The time is 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and it will happen every Friday throughout the year. The meeting point is Hardy's Birthplace Visitor Centre. The walks last an hour, beginning and ending at the Hardy's Birthplace Visitor Centre. Specially trained volunteer health walk leaders will be on hand to welcome walkers and guide them through the enchanting paths of the nature reserve. Some of these paths can be uneven and hilly in parts, so walkers should be prepared for and capable of navigating this type of terrain. Claire Platt, Dorset Council's countryside ranger at Thorncombe Wood, said, "From scheduled ancient monuments to literary connections, this magical pocket of woodland at Thorncombe is steeped in heritage and full to the brim with wildlife, plants and trees. A health walk here will exercise your body, your mind and your well-being, and it's an excellent opportunity to connect with nature." Now, no booking is necessary. You simply arrive on the day to join the walk. The walk is free, but there is a charge for the car park. Walkers are asked to complete a physical activity readiness questionnaire ahead of the walk, and this can be done online at the Dorset Council website or over the phone by calling 01425 480 811. That's 01425 480 811. Now, for more information on health walks, to get access to those forms, go on to the Dorset Council website or search for Dorset Council Health Walks, and you'll get all the information you need. If you wish to drop them an email for more information, you can email them at dorsethealthwalks@dorsetcouncil.gov.uk. That's Dorset Health Walks at dorsetcouncil.gov.uk. And that's the end of the headlines in the news this week. Now, next this week, the Wildlife Trust and the Royal Horticultural Society are joining forces to challenge the negative perception surrounding slugs and snails in gardens across the UK. The Making Friends with Mollusks campaign, which was recently launched, aims to encourage gardeners to consider or reconsider the role of these often maligned creatures in the garden ecosystem. Slugs and snails have long been viewed as a gardener's greatest foe, but this reputation isn't deserved. There are around 150 species of slugs and snails in the UK, and only a small fraction of these pose problems for gardeners. The majority contribute positively to the garden ecosystem in a number of ways. By learning to appreciate and coexist with these creatures, gardeners can adopt a more environmentally friendly approach to gardening. Now, while they may not be as valued as earthworms, slugs and snails provide several important services in our green spaces. One of their most significant roles is as nature's clean-up crew. Mollusks feed on rotting plants, fungi, dung and even carrion, helping to recycle nitrogen and other nutrients and minerals back into the soil. They can also clean algae off of glass of greenhouses, leaving behind their trademark trails. Well, let's have a quick look at some of the slugs and snails that we might find in the garden. There we go, that's just some of the slugs and snails you might find in your garden. Now there are 5 tips to help live harmoniously alongside slugs and snails in your garden. First of all, provide shelter. Create habitats for slugs and snails by leaving log piles, mulch and natural debris in the garden area. Have some selective planting plans. Choose plants that are less attractive to slugs and snails or are more resilient to their feeding habits. Things like lavender, rosemary, hardy geraniums, hellebores and hydrangeas. Put barriers in place where you need to protect things, such as copper tape and wool pellets, which may provide some protection for vulnerable plants from slug and snail damage. Hand pick and monitor, it says. Regularly inspect plants for signs of slug and snail damage and manually remove any you find, relocating them to your compost heap or areas where there are less vulnerable plants. Encourage predators. Create a haven for natural predators of slugs and snails, such as ground beetles, song thrushes, frogs and toads, by providing suitable habitats such as long grass, log piles and wildlife-friendly ponds. Predators help to naturally regulate the slug and snail population, keeping their numbers in balance. Now, if you want more information on slugs and snails in your garden and living with them in a more eco-friendly way, go on to Google and search for Making Friends with Mollusks Guide. There's a downloadable guide, Making Friends with Mollusks Guide, and you will find everything you want in that guide about living with snails and slugs in your garden without too much problem. There we go. Something a little bit different for you this week. Now it's time to go over to the film review with our regular presenter, Andrew Wright.
Welcome to White Ridge's TV film review and preview. I'm Andrew Wright. This week, the Taika Waititi sports comedy drama film Next Goal Wins was released on home video. The film is based on the 2014 documentary of the same name, following the true story of a disgraced football coach being sent to coach the American Samoan football team considered the worst in the world. The film stars Michael Fassbender alongside a majority cast of New Zealand actors, with many of them being of Samoan descent themselves. The film was released in cinemas in November to mixed reviews from critics and was a box office disappointment. Now, this is my first time watching the film and I was thoroughly underwhelmed, considering I'm a big fan of Thor Ragnarok and Jojo Rabbit. I thought that the cast of Next Goal Wins, they gave genuinely good performances, but the problem with this film is that it's not funny. It has no emotional resonance, especially with the ending, and it just really can't take the true events seriously enough to work as a proper film. It would have worked if the film had been a pure drama film, but they made it into a comedy film, which didn't work, so you couldn't take it seriously. I gave the film 2.5 stars out of 5, and that is me being very, very generous. Because there were some bits in it I liked, like part of the third act. But yeah, it's more of a 2-star film on a whole. This weekend, the dystopian film Civil War is released in cinemas. This is the new film from Alex Garland, most famous for his work on 28 Days Later and Ex Machina. It focuses on a group of journalists who travel across the United States during a rapidly escalating Second American Civil War that has engulfed the nation, the entirety of the United States. The film's cast includes Kirsten Dunst, Kaylee Spaney, and Nick Offerman. Reviews for this film have been out for about a month because the film premiered a little bit ago, and they're largely positive, about 87%. They praised Dunst's performance as well as the film's beauty. Apparently the film's quite beautiful, as well as it has a very designed, unsettling nature, which got praised as well. The film is in cinemas this weekend. I recommend going to watch the film, as it certainly looks like an important event film. Might not be a big blockbuster, but it certainly seems like an important event film. I'll be watching the film eventually, so stay tuned. That's all I have for this week, but be sure to check back next week where I'll be talking about the release of The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, which I think is coming out in the UK next week, as well as the new Rebel Moon film. Now back to Gary in the studio.
Thank you very much there, Andrew. We'll be back with Andrew next week. We now go over to the Met Office for the weekend national weather forecast, and this week we are joined by Ellie Glazier.
Good afternoon. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office. So it's been a bit of a drier start for some of us this morning, with high pressure situated out towards the south and the west. Low pressure never remains too far away though, out to the north, and it will be a bit of a milder day, but albeit very briefly. Cold fronts from the north slowly bring some cooler air across the UK as we head through Sunday, and particularly into Monday as well, but that warm air does sit out towards the west and may make an appearance later through next week. Back to Saturday's weather, and a cold front situated across Wales and northern England slowly pushes its way south and eastwards through the day, so perhaps some outbreaks of patchy rain and drizzle here. Across Scotland, Northern Ireland and northern parts of England, though, there'll be plenty of showers around. These could turn heavy in places. We could even see some snow across parts of Scotland. Southeastern parts of England definitely holding on to the best of the sunshine though, and it will be a very warm day here too. We could see highs of 20, 21, perhaps even 22 degrees, so feeling very pleasant in that sunshine. Further north though, temperatures still a little above average for the time of year, maybe 10, 12, 13 degrees across parts of Scotland, but with that brisk westerly wind and those showers, it won't be feeling too pleasant. Through Saturday evening, that cold front situated in the south eventually clears its way south and eastwards overnight Saturday and into the start of Sunday, so generally turning much drier for most of us through the early hours of Sunday morning. There will still be some showers around across parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland, and again these could turn heavy in places. But under those clear skies, temperatures will be falling down into the low single figures, particularly across parts of Scotland. We could see temperatures as low as 2 or 3 degrees and maybe even some patchy frost in places. Further south, not quite as cold, maybe 7 or 8 degrees, but perhaps a bit of a chilly start in some rural spots. So a dry and a bright start for much of England and Wales on Sunday morning. There will still be some showers around across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland, and these becoming a little more widespread as we head through the morning, pushing in from the west, and again could turn heavy in places, and we could see some snow across the high ground. So there could be some localised flooding, so do take care if you're out and about. Further south, after the drier start, we will see some cloud bubbling up through the afternoon, maybe 1 or 2 showers across parts of Wales and northern England, and it won't be quite as warm on Sunday as we're likely to see today. Highs in the south of 14 or 15 degrees, but further north, generally much closer to average, around 9 or 10 degrees. Through Sunday evening, those showers do become much more widespread across the UK, slowly pushing their way south and eastwards overnight Sunday and into the start of Monday, although the south of the UK perhaps holding on to some of that drier weather for a time. The showers then become much more widespread as we head into the new working week, and temperatures generally going below average for the time of year. There will be something a little milder through the second half of the week, but make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel to find out more about that later. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much there, Ellie, for the weekend weather forecast from the National Weather Team at the Met Office. Here is the local weather forecast this week. As we can see, sun's out a bit cloudy, quite mild. Risk of some thunderstorms Monday and Thursday. We obviously get that with this milder and more humid weather. There we go. Now to our What's On section. Here we go. Coming up at Weymouth Pavilion On the 14th of April, Emilio Santoro as Elvis. 17th of April, Miles Jupp on I Bang. 18th of April, The Hound of the Baskervilles. 25th of April, Giovanni Pernice, Let Me Entertain You. And 27th of April, Tom Jones tribute, Benidorm Tom. More information on those and lots of other things at Weymouth Pavilion at weymouthpavilion.com, that's weymouthpavilion.com, or telephone number for the box office 01305 783 225. Now, moving to the Knowth Fort. The last day of their Easter Fun Fair tomorrow, 14th of April. Then the 27th of April, Victorian Falconry and Hawking. 4th to 6th of May, Victorian Children's Events. 18th of May, Nuclear Bunker Tour. 25th of May to 2nd of June, Pirates of the Knowth Fort. 3rd of June, the D-Day 80th Anniversary Exhibition starts. And the 15th of August, a Midsummer Night's Dream open theatre there. More information on those and other things happening at the Knowth Fort on their website, www.knowthfort.org.uk. Now, nothing published from Arts Reach yet, so nothing to tell you on Arts Reach. Hopefully they'll be getting their latest programme out soon. Coming up, the D-Day commemoration. I want to tell you what's happening here in White Regis. That's on Thursday the 6th of June, starting at 6 o'clock, based around the church in White Regis. There will be live music, a fish and chip supper, a D-Day documentary, church bells will be ring, and there will be beacon lighting later in the evening. And it says, this year we celebrate the 80th anniversary of the largest naval, air and land operation in history and pay tribute to the bravery of those who sailed from these shores, flew overhead or landed on the beaches of Normandy. 30th the 6th of June is also National Fish and Chip Day, and to mark this unique joint occasion we're organising an evening event which will be educational, entertaining and fun. Tickets are £10, including the supper, and you can get those online. I think they will be available on the www.parishofwhiteregis.org.uk/events, or you can give Jeff Thomas a call on 07710 096 174. That's Jeff Thomas on 07710 096 174. We will have more information on that in the weeks ahead to remind you. Sunday the 28th of April, we've got the Weymouth Beach Walk organised by the Dog Friendly Society, raising funds for Margaret Green Animal Rescue. We've got that Spitfire fly past on the 6th of June as well, flying over Portland as well. So lots of things coming up for the D-Day, and we will keep you posted on those in the weeks ahead as we get closer. Now, church services in White Regis this weekend. 8 o'clock communion at All Saints tomorrow, 9:30 communion at All Saints, and 11 o'clock service at St Edmund's Church. Other programmes from us, it's April's edition of A Year Gardening with Clive Gray is now out, and that will go out tomorrow at 4 p.m. and be repeated Friday at 7 p.m. So if you're into gardening, Clive's programmes are always very educational. You can see some of the things that he's up to, as well as getting advice for your own garden. Of course, our quiz is on tonight at 7:30. Our community family friendly quiz, free for anyone to attend on these streams. You'll be most welcome. If there's nothing of interest on TV tonight, or you're not out for the evening, do come along and join in with us. That brings us to the end of this week's programme. If you have any news or any events for us, particularly anything to do with the D-Day celebrations, do drop us a line at news@whiteregis.tv, news@whiteregis.tv. We would love to hear from you, and so we can share that with the people of White Regis, Weymouth, South Dorset and beyond in one of our future programmes. That is it for this week, and so it just leaves me to say good evening, have a good weekend, have a good week ahead, and I look forward to being back with you next Saturday at 6 o'clock. Good night.